Good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening, or good night. This is Jen at JensArtyInclinations, a place to create, share, and play. Hello, everyone. All right, so today I'm making a little two-way booklet, and I wanted a nice big sheet of paper, so I grabbed a map page from a big atlas, and then I tore it in half, and that gave me a piece that was about 21 inches long and about 7.5 inches wide. That's just approximately. All right, so then folding the whole thing in half and then folding each side up in half again. And basically what you're doing is getting an 8-section concertina by doing it this way. So we've now got it in quarters lengthways. And then you fold that first edge piece to the middle of your next fold, and then that will give you your next fold, and that's how you get a nice even concertina to the piece that you're folding. It saves working out with a ruler, what's a quarter and what's a half. You know me, hate measuring. So then you can just concertina it all up and making sure that those folds are nice and crisp, and then we lay it out flat and we fold it in half lengthways. So fold it in half hot dog style. There we are. So there are all your folds. Now, what you end up with is you've got 16 sections now. I've just inked along the edges of the creases there to show them a little bit because it's hard to see on the map. And we actually cut off the end 2 sections. So, number 8 and number 16. So you just cut all the way up and then you'll have 7 across or 14 sections. So now what you do is you're going to cut along the centre fold of these 2 parts here. So that fold and that fold. And I'm just folding it that way because then you cut both sides at once, or you can use a knife, a scalpel and a ruler. And that's what you end up with in the first section, cutting into the next section just to the fold line. So just on those 2 little pieces. And look, I'll spread it out so that you can see exactly where those 2 cuts are. So let's have a little look, pulling it out. Okay, so if I just gently pry that apart, you can see that's where the 2 cuts are. So just those 2 sections, not all the way through the middle, just those 2 sections. Now you squish it up and you fold it into a book. So I'm going to put my open edges at the top and you fold it to that middle section. So there you go, making a little book on the left, making a little book on the right, and there you go, just like that. And then one goes one way, that goes behind, and the other one goes in front. And that is all you're folding. That's your little basic structure to make your little book. So then you end up with these 3 lovely little pages on one side and 3 lovely little pages going the other way. So now I thought I'd pop some pockets in. So I'm just working out where my first pocket is and I'm creasing that down. So now when I fold it all back together again, you'll see that makes a little corner pocket on that first little booklet. So you've got a little cover and then you've got a little corner pocket. So nice and easy, just inking the edge so that I can see my pocket easily. Then I'm going to the other side and getting the second page of that one and making a corner pocket on that side as well. So I thought I'd do it the same on each side of the book, and you'll notice it's in opposite corners when you fold it all out flat. So if you were very clever, you'd work it all out beforehand. But there you are. There's the little pages going one way with the corner pocket, and there's the little pages going the other way with the corner pocket. Now here's my prototype. I did a corner pocket and then I did a top pocket. So I decided that I would do the same on this one. So I worked out which piece that top pocket is, and then I could just go in the opposite section on the other side to make a top pocket going the other way. So then when I squish it all together again, you'll see that all of those pockets work on both sides. Getting confused yet? When you sit down with your own piece of paper, it will probably make a lot more sense. But as you see, you've got 3 pockets going one way and then the book just turns over and goes the other way. So now, simply decorating it up. So doing a bit of a cover, just a bit of scrapbook paper that I had. It's one of Sam Poole's, so I used that for a cover piece. And I actually ended up using the couple of bits that we cut off the end. I actually end up making tags with those. So then it means that you get a couple of matching tags in your book. So there you are. That's that. And I'm sort of looking at it and I'm thinking, do I want to leave it as is? I decided no. I decided to tear down just some plain coffee dyed paper. It's quite lightly dyed, but, you know, it's got a bit of, what would you call it? A little bit of age kind of looking. And then I just grabbed a little tiny butterfly stamp that I had, and I just stamped some butterflies off the edges just to give the pages a little bit of, you know, something. So then there's lots of little journaling space. And, you know, it would make a great little notebook for your handbag. Did a bit of decorative paper on that one, you know, another bit of note paper. And then I did on my cover, I had a bit of a cluster. So I popped that on the cover just to, you know, pull it together a little bit. And now it's a matter of gluing my pockets so that they all sit properly as well. So the corner pocket, you know, the side and the bottom, and then the tall pocket just along the bottom. And when I glued the side, like, because it's a bit awkward to get inside the book once you start gluing it down, I only did just the top edge of that pocket on the inside. So you can see it if you look very, very closely. I'm just not going all the way down. So, you know, not risking tearing the paper because it's just a little pocketbook. But on this one, I actually found it was better to glue that on the adjoining page rather than the corner itself. And it just gives that pocket a little bit more room. So, and the book still closes nicely. So there you are, almost done all my gluing now, and we can make some really quick tags for it, which is lots and lots of fun. So as I say, those two pieces that we cut off the end, they don't need to go to waste. They will make great tags. So I just made them a little bit more narrow so that they slip in and out of those pockets really easily. And I thought these would be great on the tall top pockets. And then I put some writing paper on the back just so that, you know, there's lots of nice journaling space on these two. Cut around, and so then I've got the back with loads of journaling space, and I did really simple decorations on the front. Little bit of a scrapbook paper image, little bit of pianola paper underneath, and on the top just a very simple label. And then all I did was a little bit of reinforcing over where I would hole punch my hole. Adds a little bit more to it, and quite happy with those. Couple of offcuts of scrapbook paper. I thought rounding the corners and inking all the edges, and there you go. They work nicely for my other two little corner pockets. So, rounding the bottom of my tags as well. I always like that. It just helps them slip in, you know, a bit easier. And there we are, the little hole reinforcers in the top. So now, putting it all in the book and trying to decide, look, only 4 things to put in, and I still get myself all confused and back to front and working out which I like in which pocket better. Does anyone else do that? You know, always jumping around trying to work out, no, I like it this way. No, I like it that way. But that's the fun of junk journals, is you can just keep playing, right? So there you are. That's today's little project. It's such an easy little book. I love that it opens both ways. You know, you could do notes for one thing on one side and notes for something else on the other side. And I just did, you know, bits of stamping and a few labels throughout just to finesse and make it feel a bit finished. You know, there's a label cluster, so gluing it top down and then gluing the whole thing down into the page. And then I just grabbed my script stamp next and did a little bit of light stamping around the edges of the pages And, you know, that just sort of, I don't know, it's so subtle, but it does help make it just feel a little bit more finished. I didn't go over where I'd be, you know, actually writing on, but yeah, just enough to give a bit of an indication of a bit of a, you know, cohesive theme. So there you are. That's what it is. You've got your 2 little books on the zigzag there, and we'll just go through and you'll see how it all works together. I hope you enjoyed. It's just a nice little quick thing when sometimes, you know, you just need to work on a little separate project. You know, a little uninspired, or you've got some pieces of paper you want to do something special with. And I did quite like using the big paper. I mean, you can get big paper in all sorts of ways, like, you know, paper bags or paper rolls. Wrapping paper is another good way to get big pages. I love map pages myself, but there's lots of other things, obviously, that you can do with them. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care. I'd love it if you could leave me a comment below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep creating. Enjoy.